My name is Shauna Glazner, and I work here at the Business Services Center. So I am the boots on the ground. I'm working with all of our local manufacturers here in Fresno County. And we also have with us today Miss Annette Watkins, and she is our workforce connection workshop facilitator and outreach specialist. So we're going to get a little involved. I have a couple of you on right now. So what do you think manufacturing is? What is your definition of manufacturing?
I believe it's just producing products for other companies or machine parts, essentially, and stuff like that.
Awesome. So the definition is a process of converting raw materials, components, or parts into finished goods or products. And you went a step further and really got into that explanation. You know, manufacturing involves so much more than just kind of what they say your grandfather's manufacturing was. There's so much high tech involved these days, which is just really amazing. So when we look at manufacturing, why manufacturing? There are pros and cons, just like anything that we find, any career that we're looking at. The pros are working for an innovative industry. You have the ability to make an impact. And there are so many opportunities, especially right now in working with all of our manufacturers here in Fresno County. The possibilities are limitless. Right now, if you are looking for a career in manufacturing, you can basically write your own ticket. You can choose the manufacturer you would like to work for, and 10 to 1, they're going to have an open position. There is opportunity for overtime, extra money. We all love extra cash, right? Advancement opportunities. If you are interested in moving around, learning different facets of manufacturing, you have that ability. There are so many areas that you can explore, and it is fast paced. If you like that faster pace, it is perfect. And depending on what you're doing in manufacturing, if you don't want to be so fast paced, you can slow it down a little bit and take on a different role. Physical or non-physical work, just exploring those careers within manufacturing, it is wide open. And it is a team environment. When you're manufacturing, there are so many parts of the process, and you have such a huge part in contributing to making that product. Some of the cons, there may be long hours, and you may be on your feet for a long period of time. Again, it could be either fast-paced or slow-paced. And it can be physical, and sometimes there can be hot and cold temperatures. Anybody who's lived through a Fresno summer knows about those hot temperatures. And I have lived in this area, born and raised, so still not used to those summers. So some of the skills you need for manufacturing, what these manufacturers are looking for is your soft skills, showing up to work on time, willing to work hard, come to work consistently. Don't allow outside distractions. So if you're on a machine, you're manufacturing, you're machining parts, it's probably not a good idea to be checking your Facebook for us older generations, Insta or Snapchat. And one of the wonderful things that Annette will cover is they actually do quite a bit of work to help you prepare for these careers at Workforce Connection. So some of the more technical skills, a lot of manufacturers do like to see Microsoft Office or basic computer skills, some math skills, depending on your position. Teamwork and collaboration is huge, and that is an absolute must. Problem-solving skills, oral communication and written communication. They want you to be able to communicate with others on your team. So what are some of the trends we're seeing right now in manufacturing? So one of the things that they've been talking about for years is the aging workforce. A lot of our workers are getting older. They're ready for retirement. So what happens when they retire? One, we need to train a new workforce, and we will have those openings. We're going to have to backfill some of those higher skilled positions. So that leaves opportunity wide open. IoT, Internet of Things, expansion, cybersecurity, AR and VR, 3D printing, 5G, AI automation. Like, there is just so much. If you are into tech right now, I mean, think about it. Everything is going robotics, right? They're incorporating robotics into the manufacturing process. And, you know, the possibilities are limitless on where you want to go in manufacturing. Industry and education partnerships. This is crucial. Like Isaiah mentioned earlier, you're going into a training program that's going to help you expand your skills and probably earn a bit more money than you would without the training. And then just these industry partnerships. As I mentioned, I am the boots on the ground. I am out there every day working with our manufacturers. I get to see the processes. I get to see what it's like out in the field. And I mean, these partnerships help us connect job seekers. So we know where the open positions are. Annette Watkins, who is also on this this orientation, she also knows where those open positions are, and she can help prepare you for that. Reshoring. There's a lot of talk about bringing manufacturing and services back to the United States. So if you've noticed, there are a lot more manufacturers coming into the area, a lot more processes being built right here in the Valley. And then the workforce of the future. Digitalization is transforming the industry. All of this, these advances that we've seen, they are rapidly changing manufacturing, and it's no longer what you think of as the old school, you know, dirty manufacturing floor. It is high tech, it is clean, and it is a beautiful process. So we talked a little bit about, you know, our education partnerships and some of those career ladders. There are limitless possibilities if you're interested in manufacturing. You can obtain various positions with, or even sometimes without, a high school diploma or GED. You can get your post-secondary education. And if you notice, as you go up the career ladder, the pay jumps significantly. So associate's degrees all the way up to your bachelor's degree and beyond. And look at, and this is just a small sample, but look at how many positions are just on this example. I'll give you a minute to just kind of look over that and see if you recognize any of those positions, if you've done any of those positions, or even if there's a position on there that you would love to get into.
That industrial engineer looks good.
Yeah, that looks fun too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a meeting last night with one of the local colleges, and we were talking to some of the engineers and just some of the stuff that they do and they train on. It was pretty awesome.
Wow, it's really eye-opening, their stuff.
Very cool. Okay, so I mentioned some of our community partners. our community partnerships with our local schools. So this is just an example of some of the schools that offer trainings. If you notice, Fresno City has quite a few training programs, and there are more, but this is just a snapshot of some of the available programs that they have at colleges that we partner with. And we are very fortunate to have somebody here from Fresno City College. Okay, so welcome Fresno City College, Becky Barabee. Dr. Barabee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I heard Shauna say a little bit earlier that, you know, sky's the limit kind of on opportunities for manufacturing. It is definitely one of our larger industries in the region. And Fresno City College has taken that very seriously and has put together a lot of great programming around that. Is someone handling my slides for me?
Yes.
So next slide. All right. So as you're, I'm sure, aware, Fresno City College is one of our oldest colleges in the system. We're actually the first California community college, second in the nation, fully accredited, and have a very comprehensive instructional program lineup for the manufacturing and manufacturing cluster. So I would say supply chain logistics is also part of kind of, once you produce the good, then you got to get it out the door, right? So we have both of those types of programs. Next slide. I know that Shauna was sharing some information, but I just wanted to share some of the manufacturing related occupations, because sometimes we don't know all of the different types of programs there are, or occupations there are. So, you know, some of the opportunities would be industrial machinery mechanics. Those are individuals that kind of work on all the motors and parts and components within a manufacturing shop. We've also got production and planning. So if you're wanting to be a little bit more in the office, there's opportunities for that. Filtering and clarifying maintenance workers is kind of a cross-trained individual that has a little bit of pneumatics and hydraulics, electrical, machining, welding. Next slide, it continues with some electrical, which is definitely something that we hear from our manufacturers all the time. That's probably the cream of the crop when you get into manufacturing. And the beautiful thing about a lot of our programs is you can get started and then you can continue on once you start working to build up those skills and continue on with your training. We also have CNC or machining types of programs, and then again some more electrical. So just this gives you an idea of kind of some of the price ranges of what you could see in the region for our different training opportunities. So I get the opportunity to share with you each of our programs, and then if there's any questions that you guys have, please don't hesitate to ask as we go through. So next slide, computer-aided drafting and design. This is a program that we have multiple certificates throughout the process. So there's an opportunity for certificates at 1 semester, 2 semester, and 3 semester into the program. Computer-aided drafting and design, a lot of times this will blend into like architecture or construction related kinds of things, but this is designing on the computer products or parts that are going to be used in manufacturing. So anywhere from designing to actually doing what they call reverse engineering, where you're, seeing a part and maybe it's no longer, it's discontinued. You take that part and redesign it from scratch in the computer and then can actually print it off in a 3D printing fashion. So that's called additive manufacturing, where you're actually doing the 3D printing, adding material layer by layer to create a part. So that's what CAD is all about. Next slide is our CAM program, Computer Aided Manufacturing. And this is kind of an extension of CAD in the sense that they both use computer design software, but it's called subtractive manufacturing, because what they do is they take a piece of metal or plastic or wood and actually cut out of it parts. So a lot of bolts or unique, pieces of metal that you might see that they've drilled holes into, or screw, feeds in multiple angles. So that's how they do that, is flipping the piece of metal around multiple times in order to do what they call multi-access drilling. So our CAM program has both a 6 and 12-month certificate. We've been running our 6-month certificate the last couple of semesters, but we're moving into a 12-month certificate just based on what the industry is kind of needing at the moment. Next slide. Electrical systems technology. We have the largest electrical program in the region. So there's a lot of different opportunities in electrical. We do things like telecommunications, solar, industrial electronics, residential electronics. So a lot of different opportunities depending on what you're interested in. And our most recent is industrial automation, utilizing robots and robotics and programming for electrical purposes. So we're starting to see a lot of that happening with pick and place kinds of things, where the robot arm is picking things up, moving it onto the conveyor belt, or maybe moving it off the conveyor belt, palletizing different products before they get loaded onto trucks, things like that. So our EST program has certificates all along the way, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months. And really, there's a lot to be able to choose from. We are looking forward to, hopefully in the next year or two, becoming FANUC's West Coast robotics training site. That is the manufacturer of the robotics that many of the manufacturers are using in the state. Next slide is our maintenance mechanic program. This is located at our Career and Technology Center off of Jensen and 99 area. And it is a 9-month program that goes over the topics of welding, machining, pneumatics, hydraulics, and electrical. So an introduction to all of those. So if you're not too sure what you want to do in I just realized I have a typo there. Maintenance mechanic. This might be a great opportunity for you to kind of scratch the surface on a lot of different areas and figure out what is the area that you would be most interested in exploring further. But maintenance mechanics are extremely high demand. They've been about a third short in the region for that particular occupation for about the last decade. And so it continues that is still a very high sought after position because they're cross-trained with multiple skill sets. Next slide is our warehouse distribution technician program. It's a 6-week program, so very short. Our next session is coming up in mid-October. And essentially this program helps you to get forklift certified or ready to be forklift certified, as well as working with supply chain software and management systems so that you can easily come into a warehouse or distribution center ready with some skills to join their team. Next slide is our welding technology program. Currently, it is a 24-month program. And it allows, again, one of the most robust welding programs in the region. We have both a metal fabrication option as well as a pipe and structural steel option. So whether you want to just come in and learn about a little bit of basic welding, just taking the first and second class of the series really will kind of line you up well to be able to do some intro level welding. However, the second year in fabrication is, the things like being able to fabricate. A lot of times they'll do barbecues or trailers for trucks or, what I'm looking for right now is somebody to do a fence, a gated metal fence. So they're doing fabrication or design, if you will, with metal. So cutting things out with laser cutters or adding, different pipe and steel together to create something beautiful. And then on the pipe and structural steel side of the house, that's more your industrial application and or farming application. A lot of times those individuals go out and work in the oil fields because they're well trained to do that. But all of our welding has the opportunity for AWS or American Welding Society certificate preparation. And then at the end of some of the courses, we have the opportunity to actually test for those certifications. And if you can obtain one of those certifications, you're going to be well positioned for a welding position. And also similarly to our EST program, welding also has FANUC robots, meaning that we have arms that are actually placing metal parts into a welder and then robotically beating and securing welds on the metal and then removing them from those parts. So one of our welders, I think, is like a 10 by 10 space, like it's 10 feet by 10 feet. It's gigantic. So if you haven't had a chance to come look at any of our programs, I would welcome you to, try to get that set up through one of your Workforce Connection contacts. We'd be happy to show you guys around on some of this stuff if you're curious. And then, so just some upcoming dates for general education options. Next week starts our general enrollment period. And our next start of classes is August 9th, Monday, August 9th. With the exception of the warehouse distribution, which I said was a mid-October start. So just some dates to keep in mind that you essentially have a good, couple of months to get lined up. And sometimes it can take that long just getting through the process. Hopefully it'll go faster for you. But know that we are open for enrollment at this point in all of those programs. With that, I shared a couple of points of contact. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Becky Barabee. I'm the Dean of Applied Technology, and that's my email. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. But we also have a couple of counselors that can help, if you need assistance with applying to the college or, talking out with somebody what would be the best program for you. Our counselors can definitely do that. In addition, if you're interested in any of the programs at our Career and Technology Center, they have online orientations every Monday at 9 a.m. So that might be an opportunity for you to hear a presentation a little bit longer. They also help with getting your student ID and applying for the college. So with that, that's all I have really to share. But I do have some time, I think, if there's any questions that anyone would like to ask.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have a couple actually. So let's start from the last. That orientation is every Monday?
Yes, 9 o'clock.
Monday at 9. That's awesome. Okay, and then can I get your email again? So in case I had any.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then one more. What is a photovoltaic? It was a couple slides back.
Photovoltaic is a fancy way of saying solar.
Oh, that's tight. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, good questions though.
Thank you.
That was a pop quiz type of question right there. I will say, as a female in this industry sector and overseeing all of these programs, I know there's a couple of females on the call. Don't let manufacturing scare you away as a female. We have female students in our classes, and honestly, if I had known about this earlier in my life, this is exactly where I would have been. The industry sector is healthy, and the opportunity for growth potential is very high. Some of our maintenance mechanic positions in the region start out at, $60,000-$70,000 a year. And then with overtime, even more than that. And it took me a long time in my career to get to that level of pay. And like I said, I could have probably skipped the first 20 years of my professional life and jumped over things. So, if you're good at critical thinking and problem solving and enjoy working in a team environment, I think that this is definitely an area that you want to explore. So would encourage you to at least check it out. And again, our counselors are available to answer any questions that you might have about getting on board.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barabee. We really appreciate you being here today. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we will be sharing some of the information on Facebook as well.
Okay.
So thank you so much. And
Yep.
Fresno City College is one of our community educational partners who just has such a tremendous contribution to the success of our job seekers and those who are going through the Workforce Connection program. So thank you again, Dr. Barabee.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And again, look forward to seeing you guys on campus in fall.
Okay, next we will talk a little bit about an employer spotlight. Anlin Windows, they regret that they could not be here today because they are busy getting some of the people that they just hired from their job fair, getting them onboarded, getting them in the right positions. But they really wanted to make sure that we were able to share their information. So I'll tell you a little bit about Anlin Windows. Anlin Windows and Doors is a major manufacturer located right here in Clovis, California. And they are a community business partner with the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board, which is who I work for. They have a 30-year history in the community. Their recent job fair was a huge success, but more people are still needed to fill those positions in the fast-growing company. So many full-time positions are available in several categories, including factory production staff, forklift drivers, shipping loaders, equipment and maintenance technicians, Class A drivers for short and long haul loads, and so many more. They offer great pay, family health benefits, as well as paid vacation. The plant facilities include cafeteria and food vending on site. I have seen their facility. It is huge, and they do have some recreation areas for their employees. So they really care about a family culture and care about employees' success and satisfaction. When I went in, I actually saw a couple of pool tables along with just a huge cafeteria. So they have asked that any interested applicants come by their main entrance at 1665 Toll House Road in Clovis and fill out an application for interview. Anlin strongly believes they are in the business of making windows and doors, but their community goal is building careers. One of the things that I learned when I visited Anlin is that they really focus on promoting from within. And as Becky Barabee mentioned from Fresno City College, some of these maintenance mechanics are starting $60,000, $70,000 a year. Anlin is very competitive in their pay, and they are willing to help you get the training you need to move up within their organization. And then also, if that sounds like something that you would like to do, but you're wondering, well, how can I get into school? Workforce Connection may be able to pay for that education. So don't let that be a barrier. There's always a way.
Shauna, can I just say really quick that Anlin is one of Fresno City College's partners as well, so full circle. And they do a lot of recruitment out of our CAM program for, they're always looking for machinists and CNC control operators. And that's only a one semester, maybe a little bit longer program. So it's one way to definitely get in and get out. And they do work with student schedules as much as possible as well. So a great company and great people to work for. I would ditto that. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Barabee. Very much appreciate that. So, I mean, you heard it here. Anlin is hiring. They're hiring for many positions. The doors are wide open. They partner with Fresno City College. So if you need training, that's a door right into Anlin. And also, not only Anlin, but many of the manufacturers that I work with are hiring right here in Fresno County. I am constantly getting calls and emails. Just the other day, Stratus Foods is hiring, and Westrock is also looking for great people. So the possibilities, like I mentioned, are limitless. And many times our Workforce Connection customers have priority over some of the other applicants because we are community business partners. So when those resumes come directly from us, they know that these candidates have been pre-screened, and they know that these are great people that are coming to them. So some of the basic employment requirements, and it does vary. There is a wide range just depending on what position you're getting into and what manufacturer you're working for. They do prefer a GED or high school diploma, but it is not always a requirement. You must be at least 18 years old or beyond. You must, for most manufacturers, you must be able to pass a background check. Drug screens, you do need to pass a drug screen. Nearly all manufacturers will be drug screening. And in many cases, you need to meet a minimum math and reading level. And then the training that you may receive from one of our local education partners like Fresno City College can give you a leg up to get into those better careers. And one thing as well is you should be able to lift up to 50 pounds. And with that, I would like to introduce Ms. Annette Watkins from our local Workforce Connection office right here in Fresno.
Thank you, Ms. Shauna. Always a pleasure. And for those who don't know me yet, my name is Annette Watkins, and I love talking about Workforce Connection and our amazing resources. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is the training. And, you know, Dr. Barabee was on and talking about some of those quick training programs through Fresno City College. So what will happen is for individuals that identify that career goal that needs that training once they're enrolled with us, that's where we're going to start on that the training pathway. So you'll do your career research, make sure that you're making a good decision for you and what you want to do with your career. And then actually doing a scholarship application so that it can go before our Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board. And once they approve that scholarship, that's when we can pay for the training programs. Registration, tuition, books, materials, tools, uniforms. If there's any kind of pre-employment type of things that are necessary for that, we can cover those costs as well. Or when you get to the end, if there's some kind of a certification exam required or a license required, like through the state, then we can pay the exam fees and the licensing or certification fees. So it's pretty comprehensive. You know, in some cases that can be quite a lot of money, which is really good. And another benefit, if it's one of our training providers that will also qualify through FAFSA, if you get a Pell Grant or a Cal Grant, normally if you're just a regular student, you might have to apply that towards your tuition, your books, your materials, depending on the situation. But in our case, we cover the training related costs, and then you keep the Pell Grant or Cal Grant. If you were awarded one of those, you keep that yourself so you can use that for your household expenses. pay for your gas, your childcare, your PG&E, whatever you need to do that you can use those monies for. You don't have to use that towards the training part of it. So that's another really good benefit as well. Most of them are a little shorter term, but like Dr. Barry said, some can take a little bit longer, but generally it's 12 months or less. And it's usually something that will prepare you for a career to get into that career field. And then from there, you may decide that you want to continue on and keep growing and advancing, but lots and lots of good career fields to get into. And believe me, we have a lot of training funds, and the state and the feds have made sure that we have a good portion that's available to help pay for the training programs for our participants, because they recognize how important those skills are to our workforce, right? So ultimately for us, the goal is always for you to have career success. So whether you use your skill set you already have or go to the training first, we're always going to hope that you leave our program with employment, regular full-time employment, so much so that even when you're done, we still do follow up for a year afterwards. So lots and lots of opportunity for us to work with you and make sure that you've got the resources to help you with your success. And then, like I said, one of the biggest factors is your own motivation for your career success. So we want to encourage you, have faith in yourself and take these steps, even though it might be a little bit scary. But there's a lot of reward that's just in front of us if we're willing to take those first steps.
Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. It was wonderful having you today. So with that, we will conclude this session. And please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or would like more information. Thank you so much.